Welcome back to the Jones Den. I'm Mary. Today's Monday, December 8th, 2025. And on December 1st, the Transportation Security Administration, otherwise known as the TSA, announced that they will start charging travelers who do not have a Real ID $45 in order to run them through a process so that they can have a temporary Real ID. I think they said that it's good for 10 days. And then they put this press release out on December 1st, and they make it sound really great, like they're providing a new service, like everyone gets a free cup of coffee. But no, it says TSA introduces new $45 fee option for travelers without Real ID starting February 1st. So basically, if you want to fly and you don't have a Real ID yet, you have the option to pay $45 in order to use a modernized alternative verification system. And then I think I said this goes into effect February 1 of 2026. And if you remember, the Real ID law actually came into effect in 2005. And obviously it's taken them a bit of time to try to get it into the system. And one of the reasons is I think some people are just very compliant with it, but other people, there have been thankfully some elected officials that have expressed some concerns about this. And they stated in the press release that ID verification is essential to travel safety because it keeps terrorists, criminals, and illegal aliens out of the skies and other domestic transportation systems such as rail. Maybe not light rail. And then they go on to say, we must ensure everyone who flies is who they say they are. And they say specifically, the fee is part of the agency's next phase of Real ID implementation process, and it will require individuals to verify their identity through a biometric or biographic system if they don't have a compliant form of ID before they're permitted to cross through the checkpoint. TSA also stated the fee was necessary because we needed to modernize the system, and that way the fee is being paid by the users, not to the taxpayers. So, isn't that nice of them also? And I just, with the Real ID, I don't have a Real ID, and I don't like to fly at all. Every time I fly, I end up stuck in an airport for hours and hours or overnight. It's just, and not to mention some of the stories we've heard lately and the delays and everything are just incredible. So if I can drive, I'll drive all day long. But, also one of the reasons I don't like to fly is I don't like feeling like a criminal. You go in, you have to take your shoes off, you have to take your belt off. They might want to pat you down, or they make you stand in a thing, in a tube. And they wonder why people are just wearing pajamas when they go to the airport anymore. And so they make everyone go through all these hoops. Meanwhile, for years, the borders have just been wide open and anyone can come through. And yet they put you through all of this scrutiny at the airport in the name of safety. And off-grid news, let's see here. Here it was. Sorry about that. Off the Grid News they had a really good article talking about the Real ID and the march toward digital control in America. And it says, for years, Americans have been told the Real ID program is a simple upgrade, a safer driver's license with a star in the corner. The narrative is straightforward. You'll need it to board flights and enter certain federal facilities. Yet behind the marketing is a sweeping federal initiative with profound consequences for privacy, civil liberties, and state sovereignty. And this, of course, it talks about a little bit the history and how it's more than a driver's license. This, of course, is a federal program, and states can still oppose it. The problem is I'm in Virginia. Virginia seems to love the Real ID. They've been trying to push it for years here. And really what this is this, they say it'll help you get through quicker and everything else. but then it's just requiring, it says here, the law gives the Secretary of Homeland Security sweeping authority to expand its uses. What is now required for air travel and federal facilities could one day be necessary for voting, accessing healthcare, buying a firearm, applying for a job, or even conducting financial transactions. Real ID is not just about travel, it becomes an internal passport that you need for every transaction in your life. And so it talks about the push, biometric surveillance, and we saw how they used it. They wanted to use this, tie it in with the with that and tracking who did what. And the other problem, also it talks about the sweeping powers it gives the Homeland Security, but more importantly, that it takes so much of our freedom away. And you think about this when you have a digital ID, this Real ID will that's what eventually it's going to end up being. And it said at the end of the article, the Real ID may look like a small star in a driver's license, but it represents far more. The architecture of a comprehensive surveillance control grid. So then when you need a digital ID to go anywhere, another state, maybe to go to the grocery store, if you don't have the proper Real ID, the digital ID, you can't go to the grocery store. Then they can flag you for any reason, and they have total control over where and what you do. And we all know that the World Economic Forum has been pushing for the digital IDs, and also which then is going to translate into the central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. And you can read it if you think it's a conspiracy theory. It's right here on the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System on their website, and they talk specifically about central bank digital currency. And when if this is implemented, and basically there's no more cash system, everything is digital, everything is a number on a computer, then they can implement, and we've already seen social credit affect people's lives, but they have total control. Excuse me. If they don't want you buying meat and all you have is your central bank digital currency, and you go to buy meat and they're like, nope, no more meat, because that's not sustainable. They have complete control over your commerce. And so that is why it's so important. Or you say something they don't like and they can shut you out. They can shut you out of the grocery. They can shut you out of being able to go to certain places that require these identifications. They can do so with your banking too. And they can debank people nowadays, but it'll be a lot easier for them to do it if it's on central bank digital currency. That is for sure. So this is another reason, so important, why you must try and be as self-sufficient as possible and try to maintain positions that aren't in the system, in what I call the B system, because they do want it's all in the name of safety, but ultimately it's all really in the name of control. And we all know who's really in control. That's God. But we also need to take our steps to make sure that we are sovereign human beings, and we can do transactions out of their system the best we can. And also make sure you're prepared, self-sufficient. Make sure you have emergency reserves on the side, backup food as always. And make sure you're staying in good condition so that you are prepared and that you can defend yourself. If things start changing, I think we're going to see a lot of economic changes in 2026, and we all really need to be prepared for that. But this Real ID system, now that they'll fine you into compliance, and if it's not for the flying, you'll need it for driving. So just think about that. And I know some people, well, I don't have anything to hide. Well, that's fine. But what if they don't like the color of your hair that day and they shut down your access to anything? So anyway, I hope you found that got something out of this, and I thank you for watching. And please like, share, and subscribe. And I look forward to talking to you all again soon. Have a great day.